Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Risk of Rain 2. I'm Nye. So, we don't have much left to unlock, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I'm not sure, how you feel about it either way. But we're going to be going back to Rex. We only have 2 skills to unlock here. We need to kill a Clay Dune Strider on Abandoned Aqueduct by throwing it into a pit. We also need to complete an entire teleport event while under 50% health. I tried doing Artifact of Glass for the under 50% health thing, but apparently it just flat doesn't work that way. So I don't think that's going to give me, give me anything that's going to help. I don't think there's any artifact that's really going to, help me here. I'm going to try on hardcore, or, Monsoon, though. Okay. I really wish I had some lunar coins. I've used them all recently, so I don't have any right now, but man, do I wish. I'm gonna wait for enemies to spawn. Shield's definitely gonna help with survivability normally. But it actually screws a little bit with my 50% health thing because shields count as part of your maximum health. Just more, extra attacks I have to use to get myself below the health modifier for now. There was a giant around here at one point. Yeah, we're just gonna wait patiently for enemies to actually show up to fight us. I've heard some. There's a scuttler way over there. This is why I really like those runs that start with like a blood shrine right next to you. So you can just give up some health and just go. Beautiful. Okay, the stone giant has finally decided to show up. I want this item. Whatever's in this, I want it. Ow. War Banner is a very good item to have. Yeah, 37, but this is 44. There we go. And I was rewarded with a bleed. Excellent. Worth? Absolutely not. Definitely on Monsoon, we're halfway to medium. And I've only just exited spawn. Worth? No. But you gonna die? No? So yeah, definitely not worth the time spent, but getting those items is always gonna be good. And you know what? We're gonna hit medium eventually anyways. I need the items. That said, any player that actually knows what they're doing is going to say I'm a freaking idiot for sitting that long. Nice. That's going to help with swarms. is actually really important, because I feel that, like, Rex doesn't have a really solid way to deal with swarms of enemies. Rex absolutely has lots of skills, don't get me wrong. And Rex's ult can, you know, can do some work, but I don't know. I look at Rex and I don't get that feeling of, hey, this person can deal with swarms. Really? Nothing back here? Got a barrel. Okie dokie, Smokey, let's move on. I don't think I saw anything hovering around back here, but I did want to double check just in case. Nope. All of these barrel spawns and our item spawns have been incredibly lackluster. There's another barrel. Question is it worth going over there looking? Even more barrels. Tougher times sitting right there. Focus crystal's good. Just checking around the back side of this cliff, just seeing, did we maybe see something? No. It's not that, like, we haven't gotten items. We've gotten a fair number of them, but we just haven't gotten kind of like a solid build, in my opinion. I don't know. Not bad. Got in this 3-pounder. Broche would be nice, but I don't really have anything I want to put in it. And anything down below, going once, going twice, sold. And this is why we have this item. Okay, let's get out of here. Okay, so I need to have myself down to 143 or less. More importantly, I need to stay there. Oh, whoops. This is gonna help me get down to 143. Oh, dear. If those wisps fire even once, I'm dead. Yeah, I do want a little bit more health in this. This is a little bit low. Okay, that's fine. Widow Queen, where is she? She's right there. I think we might have already gone too high. Oh, hello. Okay, shoot a bunch of missiles. Once the queen is dead, okay, now the queen's dead, it's going to be a lot easier for me to control where my health is. want to try to get below 30. Actually having a hard time lowering my health here. Okay, we at least got bushwhacked. So now I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now we're going to actually run a normal run. Whew. That was actually tough. Like, that was tough to kind of keep my health low. Now I don't have to worry about keeping my health low anymore. So that's the really good news about this, is that we get to kind of move onwards with our lives. So now we're going to hope that we are, okay, we're on Abandoned Aqueduct, which is the level I want to be on. So the next question is, can I get myself the item the boss I'm looking for? We very much want to see, go ahead and pop that and just immediately try to kill as many of these guys as possible. We want to see if we can get ourselves a Clay Dunestrider, and we're just going to try to knock him into a pit. That's going to be the goal here. That's a lot of money. So we need a lot of money for these items that we're looking at right here. How much is that? 174? Okay. Have a lot of banners for this early in the game. I know we only have 2 banners, but 2 banners is still a lot. Kind of waiting patiently. I want every item I've seen so far. I do want both of those drones. I don't know how knocking back a boss is gonna work. I don't know how well the knockback works on them. Okay, cool. Ooh, and an unstable Tesla coil. Excelente. That's just fantastic. That's just amazing. Give me them items. Let's go. So getting below 10% health is going to be our next goal. Don't know if I want to try to do that kind of sight unseen, or if I... You know, maybe I want to... So I think we just have to end below 10%. I don't think it's be under 10% the entire time. So I don't know if maybe what I want to do for that is try to go for that with maybe like foreign fruit or something like that. So that way I can kind of dip, but not risk dying to the effect, to damage that may happen as I dip myself low. I hear a bunch of enemies. Now remember, there's no guarantee that the boss of this floor is going to be the boss I need. We may be looking at a loop here. Not terribly worried about looping at this point in time. Especially given some of the items we've gotten already. I mean, we got an unstable Tesla coil. That's already one of the core items I look for on literally any run. That is one of the reds I'm constantly on the lookout for. It's one of my favorite items in the game. It's good on everyone, you know? It is just a consistently good item. And if I can add a ukulele to it, all the better. Okay, what do I see in that? I see a goat hoof, which is probably what I'm going to grab. I don't know what the item is that's around the corner from the goat hoof. That goat hoof is a pretty exciting beast. If that had been another goat hoof, I would have been on board immediately. What do we got in here? I see 2 goat hoofs. Yeah, I think we're getting the goat hoof off of this one. I don't see Bustling Fungus being an item I'm excited to pick up on this run. That is a item that is almost exclusively for the Engineer. Ronald's Band is always going to be an item I want. I always want to get that damage, that burst damage in. I usually would prefer to have the red band, but I'm going to be excited no matter what to get either of the bands. So either way, I'm going to be excited. The red band just happens to come with more damage. And the ability to slow is not like a unique ability in this game. There's a couple of different items that give you slows. Chest there. I see a scrapper there. Unfortunately, I don't have anything I want to scrap. Roche is excellent. Wouldn't mind getting like 2 or 3 more of those. Yeah, I'm not currently packing anything I want to scrap. Okay, I'm seeing one last shop. And I'm hoping we're going to see, in addition to this shop, I'm hoping we're going to see, gotta see damage down. I'm actually going to get fireworks from this one. Okay. Good to leave. Yeah, like, fireworks definitely going to help as I'm moving around in future levels where there's going to be tons of enemies. Now, do we get a Clay Dune Strider? We do not. We get a Stone Titan. Now, this time I get to use the entirety of my kit. But he tries to laser me. My health regen is way too high for that kind of bullshit. My ability to heal through stuff is kind of nonsense right now. Like, let's just face it, as Rex, we are one tanky dude. Not only are we tanky, but we have a fair amount of DPS, too. %. We're moving on. This is good. We've got a good run on our hands. Might open up a loner pod. Yeah, a loner pod. Might open up a lunar pod in the future. We have that one lunar coin just kind of sitting there, looking pretty. And we are out. Our enemies are deceased. That's right, I should have tried to get below 10%. Especially towards the end there, because we basically had no enemies to deal with, so it would have been fairly safe to do. Have to look into doing that. Well, looks like we're hanging out here. Enemies not giving me nearly enough money. Have something I can shoot from a distance, maybe. A wisp or a boss or something. No. Well, looks like Wee's hanging out. So how are your holidays? Don't mind me, I'm dancing. Okay, soda syringe. Excellent pickup. Tier 2 chest. The old key, I think, is going to be our major pickup off of this shop here. Just better items out of the rusted chest. If I even happen to find it. I might not find it. Hey, you. God, why are you going up there? Hey, you. You with the face. Play with me. Play with me. Come. I wish to play a game. Dude. Yes, we're both jumping. We both want to see each other. Except I want to see you more. Come here. You think that this guy would, like, teleport down here or something? Dude, get better pathfinding. Upgrade yourself. Hey, that's actually a pretty good pickup. That's actually advice I would give to anyone, actually, you know? I'm not particularly good at following that advice personally, but upgrade yourself, you know? Look for ways to better yourself as a human being. That's something I would tell everybody. Kind of the #1 piece of advice I can think of. And that's not, you know, not me saying that you or anybody in particular is not a fantastic person in and of yourself. But we all have stuff we can work on. We all have ways that we can grow. I have known some truly fantastic human beings that definitely had things that I would have considered to be, you know, character flaws or just gaps in their education or, you know, what have you. Screw you, buddy. Screw you and everything you stand for. Oh, especially screw you and everything you stand for. Holy crap, you do damage. Well, you know, it might be like a gap in your education. It might be, you know, one thing I see a lot of people struggling with, especially right now, kind of in the way that that society is making a much-needed cultural shift. But a lot of people are, you know, finding inherent biases in their, you know, in their personality or in how they were raised. I know I definitely had some. The thing is, like, the people who raised me, or really the person in question, was my grandmother, who was an absolutely gorgeous human being, a lovely human being. She was... It's very hard for me to say something negative about my grandmother because she was such a loving person that absolutely adored everybody she met. But she had some beliefs that were just inherently racist. And they weren't carried out with any, you know, malice. There wasn't acting upon it in a way that she intended someone to be hurt. It was just one of those things. It's just like, there are some things that she, you know, kind of thought that were negative. One really good example was just that, you know, when she was working, she was a teacher in New Orleans, and the job she really did, the kids that she really taught, were generally underprivileged African-American children. All of her students loved her. But at the very same time as she was doing, well, not as she was doing that, you know, I don't have memories of her until after she retired. But when she was, you know, still kind of ambulatory and moving about and driving and stuff like that and taking, you know, the grandchildren out to see a movie or something like that, one of the things we heard was that if there was you know, if it was dark, you know, especially after dark was a big time this would come up. But we were driving along and we would see, you know, a lone African-American male above the age of like 17 kind of wandering along on his own. It would be, you know, the question would like invariably come out of her mouth. Now, what are you doing all, you know, all late at night by yourself? It'd be this accusatory tone, as if there's any particular reason this person should not be able to kind of go where they want to at any particular time they want to. And it was this thing that kind of I grew up with. And I remember reading Robert A. Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land. And there is a chapter in there that focuses on the main character, Michael Valentine Smith, is a human that was left on Mars for various reasons, alone, from kind of the age of baby on up. And because of that, he was raised by Martians. And the Martians, among other things, have not only zero issues with eating the dead, but it's kind of a cultural thing. It's not only is it a cultural thing, but it is a point of honor that you would be chosen to be eaten. And you might not even be dead when you're being chosen if the situation is grim on the planet and there is a lack of food available. The elders may just go, okay, well, we don't have enough food to feed everybody. You are going to be chosen to be the meal that gets us through this tough time. There's actually a time in the book where misunderstanding what another character is saying, because his grasp of, the English language and idioms is not amazing yet. Someone asks Michael, do you feel like food? Which, to those of us who know English and are familiar with, cultural norms, we would go, oh, that means, do you feel like, are you hungry? Do you want to eat something? But Michael, because of his, again, kind of lack of these basic bits of knowledge, he misinterprets this question to be, does he feel like being food? He, is surprised that the planet is that much in trouble when it comes to providing food for its people. He wasn't aware that food was that scarce on the planet, but he's honored to be chosen to feed the people, and he's ready to die. And very quickly, the reality situation is explained to him, and he's not hungry. But this is kind of a big deal. So, just basic cannibalism is a trait that he is taught from an extremely young age. And it is basic cannibalism. That's all it is. He is taught that it is okay to eat another person. Another person of your same race, or just another intelligent being, and that's fine. So later on in the book, someone kind of protests against this, saying that there's got to be something wrong with him because he is okay with the concept of eating another person. And one of the book's characters, styles himself a philosopher, and he says, if you were not raised such, you'd be okay with cannibalism too. Well, the one who's protesting, complains that I was not taught not to be a cannibal. It's just something that's ingrained in us. And the argument was, well, no, not really, because there's jokes about being a cannibal, or about not being a cannibal. There's TV where cannibals are bad guys. There's a lot of these cultural things that, I'm trying to remember where the exit was. There's a lot of these cultural things that tells you, that this is, a negative thing. So I bring this up because I kind of absorbed through actions, things said by my grandmother, actions done in my presence by her. It kind of absorbed that, okay, there is something inherently shifty about these people. Couldn't be further from the truth at all. So the problem is that where the hell was it? Over here. It's just one of those unfortunate things that people they grow up with this, and then some people can't suppress it. I can't remember why I got on this topic in the first place, but it's been on my mind for like the past hour. It's something I want to talk about anyways, but I can't remember why I brought it up. Gotta be up there on the second level, because I don't see it down here. It's a shame. And I think, thinking of my grandmother and thinking of the type of person she was, how she acted around others, things like that, I think if she was still alive today and, saw this cultural shift in the world, she'd immediately be on board, would absolutely understand what was going on, and and be repentant for actions she took. Again, not acting outright against anybody, but having this kind of thought process, this guarded thought process against an entire race. I think she'd realize that that was something that was unacceptable. But it as I said, it is one of those, you know, it is one of those things that even someone who is a very loving and wonderful person might show off some of these things, even though it's not something you'd absolutely expect from this person. You know, it's not an action you associate with a good person. You know, good people can act like that, especially if they're unaware. And I think that's also an important point that a lot of people, especially those who are, I think what I want to say is crusading. I think that's kind of a negative word, but I think there are people who, they are taking an action that they think is good, which is, and it is good. Like, working on this social change is fantastic. It's exactly what the planet needs right now. So I'm not saying it isn't. But they're, you know, people going, hey, you did this heinous thing. You need to be punished for it. And I think there is a fundamental misunderstanding that you can, you know, be a good person and have a belief that is not good. The real question is if you are to maintain that, you know, that moniker of being a good person. If we're going to continue to say you're a good person, when it's pointed out to you that, hey, you done fucked up, you know, you said something you shouldn't have, you held a position that you shouldn't have, you know, your whatever, this thing that you're doing is inherently sexist or racist or ableist or ageist or any of the other ist words we can say. But when it's pointed out to you that, hey, this is a kind of a thing that is not good, you know, you need to reevaluate. You know, you need to reevaluate life and kind of think about your actions. And oh yeah, I was talking about improving yourself. People need to be able to go, oh, you know what? This thing that you're saying, which, oops, okay, there we go. Excellent, click out of the screen. This thing that you're saying, which is, you know, you're being called out on it. There needs to be this response from people, which I don't see a lot. But response to people that, you know what, maybe they're right. I know I have that knee-jerk reaction a lot, where someone says I'm doing something wrong, or I'm, you know, a belief I have is wrong, and the knee-jerk reaction is automatically to be defensive. You know, what do you mean this is wrong? This can't be wrong. I've been thinking about, I've done this forever, and no one else has ever said something about it. Like, there's a, you know, this knee-jerk reaction that, you know what? They must be wrong. But if you think about it for a little while, you realize, oh, wait. Maybe they are right. Maybe this is something that I need to rethink. It doesn't even this doesn't have to, you know, refer to things as big as racism, by the way. If you're thinking that, like, I'm thinking, you know, I thought I had come up with this great new rotation for Mechanist that was really upping my DPS, and then someone who is a much better Mechanist player than I am, you know, was like, hey, this thing that you're doing is stupid, stop doing it. I was like, wait a second, why? My DPS is going much higher. And they're saying, yeah, you know, your DPS is much higher, but you're no longer in you know, buff rotations, so your DPS, while it's higher now in this kind of casual content we're doing, it's actually going to be lower when you're actually with someone, you know, who can give you a buff that would up your damage. So, yes, this is good now, but this most assuredly would not be good if we were doing, you know, real content. And again, I had that knee-jerk reaction of, but the numbers say I'm better, and then I kind of thought about it, and you know what, how about we go test it? That's really what I was like, let's test it. Can you put a buff up? I want to see what the numbers look like. And, you know, of course, they were right and I was wrong. But people have that knee-jerk reaction. There's nothing wrong with, there's nothing wrong with when someone says, hey, you are doing something that is incorrect. I don't think there's anything wrong with you responding by saying, I don't think that's true. The wrongness comes in when they say, no, wait, let me show you, and then you refuse to listen to what they have to say. This topic comes up a lot on my channel. I bring it up a lot in, you know, we talk about it an awful lot in the streams and stuff like that, too. You know, this is gonna sound weird, but I am fascinated by ist culture. And what I mean by that is I am fascinated by people who are sexist, you know, or you know, homophobic or what have you, insert name here. They fascinate me because I don't understand. Like, I'm fascinated by people who think in a way that I don't. That's the long and short of it, is that people who hold a different opinion than me fascinate me, because I want to know why. Why do you have this opinion? This is bad. But I'm fascinated by that. So you know, ist people, and this is not just people who, again, are in that group of, you know, sexist and otherwise. I'm also fascinated by people who are, you know, who are anti-vaxxers. I'm fascinated by flat earthers. I'm fascinated by the concept that someone who won't reevaluate their own views based on evidence, and that's kind of where I'm sitting when it comes to these groups. Is I have to feel that that's the issue, that they hear, okay, we are very dead. They hear these things and they just don't believe it. They just won't listen. What is our new skill? So our secondary incentive is drill. Launch a series of seed bullets into the sky, ring down for 450% damage per second. Which I kind of like that concept. I think we're gonna go ahead and switch to Acrid for a bit, just for a slightly less thinky run for a bit. Jay, I'm fascinated by those folks. As I said, it very much comes down to the question of, like, are you willing to reevaluate your life? Are you willing to reevaluate how you feel about things? And that's one of those, like, you know, it's one of your better yourselves things. Like, being able to do that, I think, is a betterment of self. And there's other things, you know, there's something like if you're like me, so I don't know how to cook well. I am not a cook. I want to learn how to cook because I think that is a skill that I should have. You know, not because I think that, you know, I mean, I do think that it's everybody's job to cook. It's not a man thing, it's not a woman thing, it is everybody. Everybody should be able to cook, everybody should be able to change a tire, everybody should be able to do this and that other thing. There are things that just as a human being, you should have this skill. This is a thing you should be able to do. And I think, you know, that is one of them. I think everybody should be able to play a musical instrument. Not necessarily to play for others, but for yourself. It is a good thing to be able to do. It's another way to express yourself, and there are so many people in this world who do not have that ability, that don't have words or art or something like that. But, you know, you can play a musical instrument. Even if you are the most tone-deaf person of all time, if you can learn to read sheet music, and you get, like, an electronic tuner, even if you're tone-deaf, you can learn to play an instrument. Just tune your shit, and then follow the instructions on the pad. A lot of people have trouble following instructions. That's another skill people need to learn. That one boggles the mind, actually. Not only boggles the mind, that one actively upsets me. When someone does not have the basic ability to follow instructions. That actively upsets me. Because I'm sitting here going, this is a basic thing. This is not a hard thing to do, you know, to follow instructions. Some people's children, They have trouble with that concept. I don't understand it. I get if you don't understand the instructions. That I get, absolutely. If you don't understand what, you know, is being written here or what's being asked of you because a term was not explained or, you know, what, a term wasn't explained or a concept is unfamiliar. That's understandable. Nothing wrong with that. No shame in that. There was a conversation, I talked about the Novice Network, this episode or last episode on Final Fantasy XIV, and there's a conversation that came up because some guy's been talking a lot about not liking the story, and as a person who really likes the story, this kind of, I'm not gonna say necessarily upset me, but this very much did kind of gnaw at me, because I'm sitting here thinking the story is pretty solid. The game has won awards for having a good story, so there must be something going on with this guy that I don't understand. He must have, you know, interests that I don't understand, or he likes a different style of game. There must be something, right? And I'd like to be able, and I say this a lot to people, because there's certain portions of the story of Final Fantasy XIV that are better than other portions. You know, there are, you know, some expansions are better than others, so on and so forth. So I'd like to be able to tell this guy, don't worry, it gets better, you know? So I asked him, you know, where was he in the story, and he named the expansion Heavensward. And the thing is, Heavensward is considered to be one of the better written stories in the entire game. You know, it's considered to be a good story. So automatically, I was a little bit on that, like, wait, what? What do you mean, this is where you are and you don't like the story? That doesn't make sense. These are not words that you can say. These are words that don't make sense. What do you mean you're in Heavensward and the story isn't good? And I was having a really tough time with this guy, too, because I kept on asking him, well, what do you not like about the story? Well, it's not specific enough. What do you mean it's not specific enough? Well, it's not... Everything he would say to me was extraordinarily vague. Which, you know, again, kind of rankled a little bit, because now it's not only you won't tell me what's wrong, you expect me to understand that something's wrong, but you won't tell me what it is. And I'd love to help you, but you won't help me help you. Because I'd like to tell you, yeah, you know what? This is something that goes away. You know, the story does get better. This is worth your time. You know, one of his complaints, this one's kind of valid. His complaint was that a lot of NPCs build you as your character. Because in Final Fantasy XIV, your character is the hero. It is not a game where, like, the hero is some other character and you follow them. In Final Fantasy XIV, you are the hero. You are the badass. Which is one of the reasons I love the game, actually, is because the entire time, you know, it's not you following a badass necessarily. You are the badass that other characters follow. There's even a line in, sorry, lots of enemies dealing with it. Hold on. There's a line in the commercial for Shadowbringers, the latest expansion, where one of the characters says the term, "Until our friend returns, I shall hold the line," implying that the friend in question is the one that usually holds the line, and she's just doing it, you know, until that friend can take over again. Well, the friend in question is you, and it is very true in that game, in that you, as the main character, you are the one that typically, I am so gonna die here. But the main character, you are typically the one that saves the day. You hold the line. You are the one on the front lines saving the lives of everyone. That's just kind of who you are. But, you know, this guy's complaint was that the other characters make too big of a deal of you. And I went, I don't think you've been paying attention. And keep in mind, this, I didn't say it previously because what I just mentioned about holding the line, that is literally part of a commercial. So, that's not really a spoiler. I'm going to be saying spoilers. So if you really want to play Final Fantasy XIV, I highly recommend that you do. I want you to be there and let me know what server you're on so I can come say hi and give you a hug. But by level 20, which is very early in the game, the level cap is currently 80. The level cap of the original game was 50. By level 20, you have killed an icon, effectively a god. This god is, is Ifrit. Ifrit is super powerful, has the ability to eat your face, like, Ifrit is a strong dude, and he, among other icons, have the ability to temper someone, which is a term that means that they augment your mind to follow their instructions, and you cannot stop this, you cannot end this. That's one of the things that's kind of scary about icons in the game, is that they change what you think, and you have no control over it, and then you basically cannot be untempered. There we go. But you basically cannot untemper characters. When you're tempered, you're tempered. That is about it. You are now, Ifrit's tool for the remainder of your life. You, thankfully, are immune to this ability, but even if you're immune, you are still going up against what is effectively a god. And fighting back against them and actually engaging them in one-on-one combat. So you're kind of a big deal. The problem is that in early sections of the game, because the developers, you are required in Final Fantasy XIV to play earlier expansions in order to play later ones. So you have to play through the game in order. But they understand that a lot of players are watching newer commercials, and they're hearing from players who are playing newer stuff. There's a lot of players out there who, they're hearing a lot of great things, but they're going to be stuck in this older content. And they, which you need to know for the story, and also the game kind of teaches mechanics as you go on. Because not only do you need to play the older content for the story, you need to play the older content to learn mechanics, because the game will not teach you a second time. So there's a lot of reason to go through the older content, but it is, it is older content. You're not playing the newest stuff. So the game does try to speed things up and get you to the newer content by making you more powerful out the gate. You are more powerful as a level 20 now than I was at a level 20 when I was playing at that level. You have more power, it's easier to kill enemies. So when I mentioned this to him, that, power levels have changed over the years, and he is more powerful now than he was before, he mentioned that made sense, but he still doesn't like how people are trying to make a big deal out of him when, in his eyes, what he did was a cakewalk. I said, you know what, that makes a certain amount of sense. They started talking later on, and according to him, this was kind of, light trolling. He didn't actually intend any of this. He wanted to see who would respond to him. I don't believe that. But he, he said later on that, why are no characters in the game sexual? Why is everybody asexual? This could be further from the truth. Like, the game is known for its innuendo and its, its kind of comments around that fact. But a lot of this stuff tends to be on NPC side characters or side quests. You don't really see a lot of that sort of thing in the main storyline. And the reason why is that several characters are underage, several characters are parent-like characters for underage characters. So it would be a little bit weird if those characters were making sexual comments. There's kind of stuff like that. And I mentioned, and he also said that, I also never see kids in the game. It must be this other race, insert, Lalafels here, this other race must be making up for the lack of children. And, I said, you know what? I think you're not particularly observant. Like, there are a fair amount of kids in this game. They run around. I know you've passed storyline quests that require you interact with kids. There are kids. And there are plenty of characters who are very sexual. In fact, there are entire quest lines that are literally 100% non-stop innuendo back and forth between several characters. I think you're just a little bit ignorant and haven't been paying attention. And what cracks me up, and this was not intended to be an insult to him. This was intended to be a statement of, you should open your eyes a little bit more. This stuff is here. You're just not seeing it. You've just been missing it. But some other guy was like, you keep on throwing around that word, ignorant. Is that the only insult you know? And I sat there for a moment. I was stunned. And I sat there for a minute and I said, man, I would really hate to be a person who thought ignorance was an insult. Ignorance is a lack of education. Ignorance is a thing that can be fixed. Like, ignorance is not... Like, if I call you stupid, that's something else. I'm saying you do not have the mental capacity to understand a concept. If I say you're ignorant, I'm saying that you were not educated by someone about something. We can fix that. A lot of people are ignorant. A lot of people are ignorant. But I find that a lot of people are ignorant, not so many people are stupid. Now, that there is such thing as willful ignorance, that, you know, people who refuse to be educated. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to know. That is absolutely a thing that exists. It's actually a fairly sad state of affairs, because there are a ton of people who, you know, people with some level of, you know, power or notoriety or fame or really just influence is really the words we want to know. You know, celebrities and such like that. There are a lot of ignorant celebrities out there, and a lot of it is willful. These are people who, again, they don't want to know. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to learn. No. But it really saddens me when the concept of ignorance is considered to be an insult. Because you should be willing to be told that you are ignorant of something. Because that means that there is something you can fix and learn to be better about. You can better yourself in this capacity. That said, everybody should be willing to do that. Not just willing. Not willing, you should be thrilled. You should be thrilled to be able to better yourself. Like, I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm not gonna like the answer, but what type of person does not want to be better than they currently are? The only answer I have to that question, and I mean the only answer I have to that type of question, is that the only person who doesn't want to be better than they already are is the person that thinks they are already the best they can be. The person who already thinks there is no room for improvement. And those people are ignorant. I've met a lot of those people. I've had clients, I've had customers, I've had a lot of people I have worked with who were those people who thought that there was no getting better. They were the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas. They were the shit, even though that's usually like an insult, but let's forget that particular statement. But, you know, these people, you know, they thought they were the best that they could ever have, best that would ever be. It's them. They are amazing. I've met those people. I feel sorry for those people. I really do. There's something so just profoundly and basically pleasurable and enjoyable about becoming a better person. Better than you are. About identifying a place or a thing that is part of you and realizing that you can be better. And it's not just the I can be better. That's not all of it. It's not the I can be better. The big pleasurable part, the big enjoyable part, the best part of it is not the I can be, it's actually becoming better. Crowdfunder's good. I like Crowdfunder. Let's see if we can get something else. Not because Crowdfunder isn't good, but because it's not the best item for me right now, I think. If I had more, like, money available right now, I'd be more excited about Crowdfunder. But I think we can find something better. Okay. That'll what spread will do for now. I think the first thing I'd probably say about those people that do not enjoy the concept of bettering themselves, probably the first part of that is that these are people who were failed by their country's educational system. I think that's the start of it, right? You were not a person who learned to enjoy learning. Learning is a chore for you. I can absolutely understand that person not wanting to be a better person. Not wanting to learn to better themselves. Because they never learned to enjoy learning. That's not their fault. That's something I think you have to be taught, right? Is that a fair statement? I think it is. You get taught to enjoy learning, or taught to not enjoy learning. It's taught either way. I don't think, you know, we can have the nature versus nurture conversation as much as you like. But I think that is a particular thing that is nurtured. Are you encouraged to learn? Are you taught that learning is a good thing, is a enjoyable thing? Or are you, you know, not? Are you, you know, are you punished for learning or not learning? And that's not just that's not even an education system thing. I'm thinking about it and I realize that I'm putting unfair blame, you know, on the education system. That's not just an education system thing. That's a parent thing too. Your parents are a big part of whether or not you learn to enjoy learning. Your parents can show you from the word go, from kindergarten, pre-K, as they teach you, you know, to speak, to walk, as you do the first things in your life that are learning related. Your first teacher is probably your parent or a parental substitute. But the first person who teaches you something, they're going to be the one that teaches you that learning is fun. You know, the person who teaches you that, you know, hey, you're curious about insert thing here? Yes, let's go learn more. I remember reading Terry Pratchett. I was reading Discworld, and there's a comment in one of the books, one of the Death books. I forget which one. Probably Reaperman. But there's a comment in one of the Death books that talking about what's her name? Death's daughter. I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head. But talking about her teaching style and how she's the type of teacher that will go to the front of the class and, you know, read out of a book. And the teacher who employs her looks down and disapproves of this type of teaching because it sets the teacher up as some sort of fount of knowledge to be worshipped. And, you know, the teacher's the only one who has it. And, you know, on the one hand, I think that there's a certain point that the teacher should not be considered to be infallible. Because let's face it, your teacher's not infallible. Your teacher is teaching you what they were taught. And if they were taught wrong, they're teaching you wrong. And that's really all there is to it. But, and I think that there's a certain amount where, you know, there needs to be self-teaching in order to also teach, yes, if you're curious about something, go learn it. So, on the one hand, I think that that's, you know, that's not good. Because, like, if I'm thinking about someone like, you know, one comment I love seeing is, you know, the kid asking a parent, asking your mom, dad, or you know, grandparent, whoever is raising you. But, you know, asking them, why is the sky blue? And that's a question that a lot of parents struggle with, right? Like, that's a hard question for a lot of people. It's a tough one. Why is the sky blue? I don't really need fuel cells right now, so I'm gonna toss both these in. So you have the one parent who, you know, or the one type of parent, I think, is more to the point. But there's the type of parent who will, you know, admit they don't know and then say, hey, let's go find out. That is the parent who's teaching you that learning is fun. Number one, you're gonna go learn together. And, you know, let's be honest. What type of activity, what rare type of activity do you do with your parents that's not fun, right? Like, for me, shopping is not a fun activity, so, you know, I'll cop to that one. But, you know, your parent tries to teach you to ride a bike. If you learn to ride a bike, chances are you're gonna have fun riding a bike from here on out. If you have a good relationship with your parent, then anything they try to teach you, I think, is automatically gonna be something that you will find fun for the rest of your life. And so if your parent sits there and they're like, yeah, let's go learn. Let's go figure this out together. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna think that learning's fun. Part of bettering yourself, part of that conversation, part of, you know, let me be a better person, is learning. It's saying, my knowledge is insufficient. Let me fix this. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. Okay. We're fine. We're fine. We're cool. No big deal. I am dead. Okay, we did learn Pandemic, so we at least got something out of it. We did get an unlock. So now we have the ability to leap into the air. It's just stunning. Deals more damage, so 550% damage. Instead of 120% damage. Leaves acid that deals 25% damage. And then this one reduces the cooldown by 2 for every enemy hit. So definitely an upgrade. Interesting one. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for me. I spent another hour with you talking out of my ass. Hope you had fun. I'll catch you next time.